So we're joined by Tom today. Would you mind introducing yourself?
Sure. I'm Tom Strodtbeck, and I work for LGMU. I'm the Startup and Enterprise Consultant is my title. I run the startup program for students, and I do some advising and a little bit of speaking in the classroom from time to time.
What does your work in the Startup Hub entail?
So students really kind of across the entire university will want to start their own business. Sometimes they want to do things like side hustles, and sometimes they want to start something that becomes big, and we advise them on it. Basically, we run programs on how you start a business. We have speakers come in. We have a small network of mentors and advisors for students. And that's what they do. They go out and sometimes live in their dream and start a business that they're happy with and makes them happy.
Oh, wow, that's super interesting. Yeah. What are the main kind of challenges you see when students are wanting to start their own business?
Time probably is the biggest one. I think it's hard to balance university course load and workload, as you know, and starting a business is pretty intense.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably the biggest challenge. And then the kind of challenge that everybody has when they're starting a business, which is trying to find something that somebody wants to buy. You know, it could be a service or it could be, a cupcake, but people have to like the cupcakes before you sell them, right?
Yeah.
You don't get that recipe right, it's not going to go very far. And I think that's something they have to work on too. Money, a little bit, not as much as I think people think. Lots of businesses are started with very, very little money.
Yes.
I think it's probably time, and then really kind of finding something that people want. And then I think the last thing is trying to find those customers. That's going to be hard, particularly if you have to do sales. People don't like doing that.
Yeah. So going back to what you just said earlier, obviously it can be quite an intense experience trying to start a startup by yourself. And it can be quite stressful as well. So what tips would you have for students that are trying to manage their mental health alongside trying to go through the startup journey for the first time?
That's a great question. And I think there's really kind of two ways to look at it, because there's the stress. Before I worked for John Moores, I've been here for 4 years, and I moved to Liverpool in 2009, and I ran my own business in that time. And so from that perspective, that all you're doing is running your business, you have to always look at like a business as having 4 buckets. It's the thing you do, the cupcakes that you make, and then there's the way you sell them. Then there's the business of paying your taxes and all that kind of stuff. And then there's the things that you do to take care of yourself. And a lot of entrepreneurs have a hard time doing that, mainly because it takes a lot of time to run your own business. And so kind of focusing on and helping entrepreneurs understand, what it is, how they deal with stress. And that's not an expertise of mine, but understanding, is it exercise? Is it time? Is it reading? Is it unplugging? But making sure you do that, because you'll burn out. With students, sometimes it's kind of asking them to prioritize the thing that's most important, which is degree. You don't really want to leave LGMU without one. And making sure that what we're asking them to do, because we're also, I'm not a professor. Like if you come to me, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm going to try to help you create a successful business. But you don't have to do it, right? You don't have to listen to me. You can go do your own thing. But sometimes we do say to students, let's make sure we're prioritizing the right thing now. And what you're working on in your startup, let's make that a manageable, reasonable thing that's kind of informing what you might do when you're done with your degree. That's probably how I think about it.
Yeah.
So you mentioned earlier that money might be like a stressor for students trying to create a business. Are there any funding opportunities or support networks for students in the university?
Yeah, so we have a small fund. We give students £500. It's kind of reserved because the fund came from the Northwest. It's kind of reserved for students who are going to stay in the Liverpool area. Kind of extended that out a little bit. We could keep adding communities of what we mean as the Northwest. So we haven't made it to like Bristol yet, but I suppose sometime. We're in Plymouth. Yeah, it's close enough for us. It's on the water. So we do have some. Part of it, that's a good question, because I think about when I was an undergraduate, which was some time ago. It was 1980s when I did my first degree. And I don't know if I could have really answered the question of like what money meant to me, like the value of money, how much money I need to be happy or to feel comfortable or whatever. I don't think I could have answered that. I didn't understand what I now call the value of money, like how much money is enough, so I don't have to worry about it mainly. And I think part of the process that I've been thinking a lot about this a lot lately, I'm not sure if I figured it out, is when I sit down with one of you, and by the way, if you want to start a business, by all means, check us out. I tend to start the conversation there, because if you come to me and say, look, I want to be a professional sociologist, and I want to provide consultancy services to business to help them understand how their people are getting along, right? And because that's probably not a bad idea, by the way. One of the things we'd ask is, okay, if this thing's successful, what is it doing for you? What is it doing for your lifestyle? How much money will you make? And I think when I'm asking that question, I think at 23 or 22, that's a hard, could you answer that question?
No.
That's hard.
Yeah,
I don't think I could have answered it too. Then now I know, I'm starting this kind of side hustle. And the first question I asked was, working, how much do I want to make? I was like, hey, I want to make 10 grand a month. That sounds like a good number. It's probably not going to, but I you know what I mean? I can answer that question now. I don't think I could have answered that question 40 years ago. So kind of back to your question, that's a hard one to answer. And one of the things I do talk about, and again, I don't think I did this when I was 22, which is the question around personal budgets. Do you have a personal budget? Do you know how much money you spend, and what triggers your spending, Amazon on my phone. I think I need that. Those are the kind of things that I talk about. Yeah. I'm not really a money advisor, though, so I try not to get too much into that. But yeah, that's a good question, actually. I'm not sure if I answered it well.
No, you did. Thank you for answering that. Well, our role is to be interns for a mental health sort of outlook on student futures. And I wanted to ask you, how can a student balance the demands of starting a business and also balancing their mental health?
That's a great question, actually. And it's not just students, it's across the board. And I think, so I've been around entrepreneurship since really kind of 1997. I worked for a startup hotel chain, believe it or not, because there's not a lot of those in America, called Amerihost Inns. It's a terrible name. It really was a terrible name. Had a flag, like this diamond, a big flag on the it was really ridiculous. It was a good place to start. I worked for a great company, actually, so I don't want to diss Amerihost Inns. It taught me so much. But I kind of look back at that experience and what they were going through, and they were going through a lot of changes in the industry and in their business, and kind of seeing how that was reflected in the stress levels of the owner. A guy named Michael Holt was the founder of the company. He was a really nice guy, actually. I really liked Michael. And the people I worked for were two of the co-founders, and they were excellent. But it was really hard. Like, they were going through some big changes. And in fact, eventually the chain went out of business. It was acquired by another company, and they kind of shut down the brand. And that was kind of my first introduction to stress and startups. And then I started my first business in 2003. And the stress was I wasn't making any money. And that was bad. Because I like to eat and I like a house and things like that. But the overall message was, you're just gonna, you're gonna work 1,000 hours a week, even though there's not 1,000 hours a week, and you're gonna give it all. And it's funny because are you on Reddit? Do you know Reddit?
Yes.
Okay. And some of the subs on Reddit are pretty cool. There's one called LinkedIn Lunatics, which is probably not the best name for I don't think you say lunatic. Refers to the moon, by the way. The moon makes people go crazy. Anyway, reading it, I realize why there's so much stress, because you'll see these people that are founders and saying, look, if I interview you and you say you want work-life balance, I'm never going to hire you because we don't do that. We're all, it's the stupidest thing in the world. Who the hell wants to do that?
It can get so competitive, I think.
Yeah. And so about, I don't know, in the mid 2014, 2015, people started talking about that. And they're like, you know what? There are a lot of founders out there that are harming themselves. Like, they are in a terrible state.
Yeah.
And the demands that they're putting on themselves, the money that they raise are putting on them, it's not good. Like, it's hurting people. And I think there has been more of a recognition that starting a business, it is very lonely. Yeah. I'll say that. If you're a solo founder, which I was in all three of my businesses, you're alone, right? It's lonely by design. But I think people are taking more time to think about their mental health. I know I do. I don't know if I'll be at the university forever. I've always thought about going back. I will tell you, if you ask me if it's a good idea to start a business, I'd say no, it's probably going to fail. You'd be better off getting a job. But I loved running my own business. I was so happy. I loved it. And if you love it, it's great. It is a great way to live. So I think I'll go back, but I also more cognizant of the things that stress me out and how I respond to stress and some of the dumb shit I do when I'm stressed out. It's fine.
Yeah. I think it's definitely great that society is becoming kind of more recognisable to how all of us may have our struggles once in a while.
Well, sometimes I read on LinkedIn, I'm not convinced. Like the message hasn't got out that far,
it just seems too happy clappy sometimes.
Yeah. It's dire. Like, I don't want to work with that person.
Yeah. Thank you so much for...
Is that it?
Yeah, I think so.
See, I think they're interfering with our artistic. I think we have more to say.
Yeah,
we do. Well, thank you very much. I enjoyed this.
Yes. Thank you so much.
So congratulations on your degree.
Thank you.
When is your graduation day?
8th of July.
Oh wow! Are you excited?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cool. And you are second year.
Second year.
So
I've
one
got
more
one
year.
more year. Yeah.
Cool. And how about you?
I'm doing my master's. I finish in July, so my graduation is in March.
Oh wow! So you're writing
my dissertation.
How's that going?
It's okay. It's going
Speaking
well.
of stress.
Quite stressful. Yeah, but it's going well.
I just finished a dissertation in April. So I graduated on the 10th with a master's.
Oh, wow.
And I remember telling my wife, I've never done something voluntarily that has made me this unhappy in my life, writing that dissertation. That's how I describe it. I was so unhappy. And she was great. She was like, yeah, you're doing it right then.
Yeah.
You're enjoying yourself.
Yeah.
And you studied business. And what did you?
Psychology.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Psychology, positive psychology? Or?
Health psychology.
Oh, okay. So what's the plan?
Possibly a PhD. Maybe at John Moores, we'll find out.
Wow. Yeah. Awesome. So stress and you get along pretty well.
Oh, yeah. It's my best friend.
Excellent.
But thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome.
It was a really insightful conversation.
I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Hopefully some students can take some positive stuff about building their own business from this.
Yeah, come see us.
Yeah.
We'd love to help you.